Allow me to start the regular press conference by Foreign Minister Hayashi. Minister, floor is yours.
The military action began by Russia on the February 24th clearly infringes on sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine and is in serious violation of international law prohibiting use of force. We can never allow the attempt to unilaterally change the status quo by force. This is an extremely serious development which shakes the very foundation of the international order, including not only Europe but Asia. We condemn, Japan condemns with the strongest possible words such an aggression. In view of this, today, Prime Minister Kishida has announced to strengthen the sanction measures in close partnership with the international community, including the G7. More concretely, the freezing the assets, suspending issuance of visa, sanction in the financial sector, to have stricter export control for semiconductor and others. And such sanctions will promptly be implemented in these three sectors. As for the domestic procedures necessary, that would be expeditiously be presided by the relevant ministries and agencies. We will stand shoulder to shoulder with the Ukraine and Ukrainian people, and we will work in partnership with the international community.
Questions, Yomiuri Shimbun, about G7. The other day, the foreign ministerial meeting took place. You participated yesterday. Top leaders meeting took place. Minister Kishida participated. Japan is the only Asian country participating in G7. On the Ukraine, with G7, close collaboration, significance of the close collaboration. What do you think about this? February 24th, at the top-level video conference from Prime Minister Kishida regarding Russia's aggression to Ukraine, that constitutes an infringement of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. It's a grave violation of international law, the banning the use of force, and this we strongly condemn to Russia as it shakes the fundamentals of international order that doesn't accept the unilateral change to status quo by force. From me, through the February 19th and 22nd G7 Foreign Ministerial, regarding the current situation in Ukraine, it is an international issue that is related to the fundamental principles of international society that doesn't condone the unilateral change to the status quo. It has repercussions in Asia. With collaboration with G7, we will be responding to them. As G7, regarding this crisis, it poses a serious threat to the international order based on rules whose repercussions are not just limited to Europe. On that perspective, G7 are in agreement. As Japan will continue to collaborate with the international community, including G7. Next question.
NHK, Aoki-san. This is Aoki from NHK. Now, about Japan-Russia relations. At the outset, you mentioned that as the sanctions will be undertaken. So, what about the joint economic activities as well as negotiation on northern territories with Russia? Do you think that there would be any impact? On northern territorial issue, position of Japan will not change. But as Prime Minister has said during the press conference, as well as at the Diet meeting, as to the impact on the Northern Territories negotiations as well as joint economic activities, we will refrain from prejudging at this moment in time. Please.
Sugimoto-san, Sankei, Sugimoto. I have two questions about the situation in Ukraine. As a result, the U.S. deterrence, if it fails, and it failed, and there was aggression to Ukraine, extended deterrence by the United States, its credibility here in Indo-Pacific, it might actually be harmed. Aren't you concerned about this? That's one question. In the long term, this situation occurred, and the U.S. presence in the Western Front, European front, it might be boosted. That's a possibility. As a result, in the Indo-Pacific region, U.S. presence might be weakened. Isn't there any risk that could happen? regarding Russia's military action, it clearly constitutes infringement of the integrity of Ukraine, the sovereignty and integrity, territorial integrity, and it is a severe violation of an international law that bans the use of force, violation of the UN Charter, and the unilateral change of the status quo cannot be condoned, not just in Europe, but in Asia. It actually shatters the principles of the international order. We are strongly condemning this. US and Japan, in this security environment that's severe in East Asia, we are strongly committed to the enhancement of deterrence and response capabilities, and U.S. deterrence capability is not affected. I would like to refrain from making any comment about the possible impact by the Russian military actions on the U.S. posture. The Indo-Pacific strategy by the U.S. and also in the global posture review, in those actions, they clearly indicated that they are going to strengthen their commitment in the Pacific, and with close collaboration with allies, they continue to boost the U.S. forces' response and readiness. In any case, importantly, a unilateral change to the status quo by force, like aggression to Ukraine, ought not be condoned in East Asia. To that end as well, Japan should strengthen U.S. engagement and also should work on enhancing its own defense capabilities.
So this will be the last question, Kaito-san. This is Kaiki from Mainichi Shimbun. And now, the aggression by Russia into Ukraine is continuing. About 120 Japanese nationals are in Ukraine. What is the present status and their evacuation to Poland by land? What is happening on this front? With the invasion by Russia into Ukraine on the 24th, for the Japanese nationals stay in Ukraine, we have been making efforts to collect the latest information, and we have issued spot information calling on them to give top priority for their own safety. Ambassador Matsuda and other staffs of the Japanese embassy are doing their best by taking every means to protect the Japanese nationals. For the Japanese nationals' protection, liaison office has been opened in the western part of Ukraine, in Lviv, and we have already completed the coordination with Poland and others for the facilitation of passage of the border. And we have already arranged the charter flight to move those people from Poland to the other countries. We will continue to make utmost efforts to secure safety of the Japanese nationals. Now, as of the 23rd of February, those confirmed, the number of the Japanese nationals is 120 or so. But we are in contact with them. We have not been informed of any life or physical threat to them yet. Thank you. Because of the other meetings, we will now like to end the conference. Thank you.